winter mist over the Yellow River, fortified cities watching each other across frozen fields. A world we assume was destined to become China almost didn't, because before there was one empire, there were rival kings suspicious armed, certain the others would destroy them first. Unity wasn't natural, it was engineered, and it was paid for with decisions so cold, so disciplined, that they remade history. This is not the story you expect. It begins not with a single hero, but with a system that learned how to win and refused to stop. You're watching a channel that tells the stories behind turning points in human history, moments where systems, not just personalities, changed the direction of entire civilizations. Today, we follow the wars that did more than conquer territory. They created the political idea of China. The easy version says, Qin was strong, so it conquered the others. That isn't the real question. The real question is this: why did one state find the discipline to do what 6 others could not? Why did unity happen once? And why did it not happen earlier, or fail completely? Because this isn't just about battles. It's about how a state was built to win before the first army marched. For centuries before unification, the warring states period shaped East Asia. 7 major powers: Qin, Qi, Q, Shao, Wei, Han, Yan, each building walls, each raising armies, each waiting for a mistake. None trusted alliances. None believed peace would last. They invested not in coexistence, but in survival. Among them, Qin began as an outsider in the West, seen as rough, behind in culture, dismissed as a frontier state that would either be absorbed or exhausted. That assumption was wrong. Under reforms associated with Shang, young Qin changed its internal wiring. Nobility lost privilege. Rank came from service. Land was measured, taxes enforced. The state became impersonal, predictable, harsh but efficient. Farmers who could feed armies mattered more than aristocrats who claimed glory. Records replaced favors. Merit replaced birth. This wasn't inspirational. It was structural, and it created a machine that could convert grain into soldiers, and soldiers into territory, with fewer leaks than its rivals. While other states debated tradition, Qin standardized weights, measures, and administration. While others relied on families, Qin relied on law. Its strength came from consistency. This is where the pressure began to tilt. Not on the battlefield, inside ledges, granaries, and roads. The turning point did not look dramatic at first. Qin didn't announce unification. It did something simpler. It chose patience over display. It built roads for armies before it needed them. It trained officers who advanced only if they delivered results. It applied pressure along borders, probing defenses, testing reactions. Then came battles that forced the others to see the new reality. Changping 260 BCE, Qin against Shao, 2 massive states committing almost everything they had. The numbers broke more than armies. They broke confidence that Qin could be contained. But even here, the critical element wasn't slaughter, it was endurance. Qin absorbed losses and replaced them faster than its rivals, because its system could do that. That was the real difference. With momentum building, the central dilemma emerged within Qin itself. Powerful generals and ministers debated how fast to move, and how aggressive impulses pushed for rapid conquest. Caution argued for overwhelming force each time, even when slower, even when criticized. This tension became clear in the campaigns against Saichu. Saichu was vast, resource-rich, traditionally powerful. Some commanders believed it could be taken quickly with bold strikes. General Li Xin tried exactly that. He moved fast, he trusted speed, he underestimated the depth of Ka's resilience. He was defeated. The risk became undeniable. In response, another voice insisted on something different. General Wang Jian demanded an army so large it sounded excessive. He asked for time, for supplies, for certainty. He wasn't chasing glory, he was removing chance. At first, the court resisted. It seemed too cautious, too slow, too expensive. But this discipline, this refusal to gamble, became the defining decision of the unification wars. Qin granted him what he asked for, a vast, well-provisioned force. Preparation measured not in weeks, but in inevitability. When Wang Jian advanced again on Keichu, it wasn't a duel of heroes. It was a calculation already solved. The result was decisive. Keichu collapsed, not because Qin was lucky, but because Qin refused to rely on luck at all. By then, the pattern was clear. Qin did not need to be beloved. It needed to be organized. One by one, the remaining states confronted the same reality. Their coalitions were fragile. Their traditions slowed reform. Their internal rivalries leaked strength at the exact moment Qin concentrated it. Qin leaders from King Zheng to the ministers around him focused on integration each time a territory fell. They broke old aristocratic networks. They imposed uniform administration. They made conquered land function as Qin land fast. This prevented the usual rebound. No extended occupation, no loose ends, logistics, roads, standardized commands, clear hierarchies. These did the work that speeches could not. By 221 BCE, the last independent crowns were gone. The title changed. A single ruler now claimed something new, not just king, but first emperor. Yet the real transformation wasn't the title, it was the framework beneath it. Weights and measures were unified, writing was standardized, laws were centralized, barriers between regions became administrative lines inside a single state, a shared political space replaced a fractured one. Critically, this didn't end conflict. It ended the question of whether China could exist as one system at all. The Qin dynasty itself would not last long, but the pattern it imposed did. Later dynasties would fall and rise, but they would use the same basic map. The assumption of unity became normal. The expectation that China was one political world came from these wars. So what actually worked? Not destiny, not just ambition. A state willing to reshape itself from the inside before trying to reshape others from the outside. Leaders choosing structure over spectacle. Generals rewarded for patience, not for reckless charges. Qin's unification was not an accident of courage. It was an outcome of systems designed to minimize chance. That is why 6 rival states disappeared. They faced not simply armies, but a new idea of governance, and that is why the wars of unification matter today. Because they show how discipline can be more transformative than charisma, how administration can be more revolutionary than battle cries. They remind us that large-scale history changes when institutions change. Before anyone recognizes it, the world that emerged after 221 BCE carried consequences far beyond Qin itself. The infrastructure of unity enabled population growth, economic integration, and cultural exchange across enormous distances. It encouraged later rulers to think in continental terms. It made fragmentation feel temporary, not final. Even Qin's collapse did not undo what had been built. The idea of one China proved more durable than the dynasty that first declared it. That is the larger impact of the Qin Wars, not just territory taken, but political imagination expanded then locked in. History often hides its most important shifts behind familiar names. But the Qin unification shows something quieter and more unsettling, that the greatest turning points come from discipline, not drama. A state that chose hard systems over comfortable tradition changed how millions would live for millennia, and it did so through decisions that felt, at the time, simply necessary. We live with the consequences of those choices. If you found this story compelling, tell me, which moment in ancient history should we explore next? Which turning point do you think reshaped the world without us noticing at first? If you want more calm, carefully told histories like this, consider subscribing and sharing this video. It helps these stories reach the people who would value them most. Thank you for watching.